What's up, guys? We're back, and today I'm going to be going over the Midwest region bracket breakdown for the 2023 March Madness. Usual, let's just get straight into it. Um, this is definitely one of the weirder regions, I would say. It's definitely one of the more competitive ones. You got a great one seed in Houston, obviously. I think they're like the favorite to win it all. You got Texas, my favorite two seed personally. They do have a very tough road though, so could lose or could lose before the championship or anything like that. You got a solid three seed in Xavier, maybe a little on the iffy side at times. Like just coming off of a blowout loss against Marquette, I believe, and then Indiana, solid Big Ten team. But they are matched up against a very strong Kent State team. Same with Miami, solid ACC team, but they're matched up against a very solid 12 seed in Drake. So yeah, I mean, I would have Houston moving on, and I would have Texas moving on. Those are almost guarantees. I don't see any 15 seeds upsetting two seeds this year, and definitely not a 16 over one. Um, with these 8, 9, 7, 10, both of them are coin tosses. I mean, it's like Iowa, Auburn. Both teams are solid. Iowa, usually has come up short in March Madness, but Auburn has done the same thing. I believe there's a stat that since Bruce Pearl's been at Auburn, they've been like 11-0 in the first round. So I might pick Auburn there just based on that. But really, it's a toss up. Then you got Miami Drake. Drake, they got Tucker DeVries, got a very solid team. He's coached by his dad, Darren DeVries. In Miami, I'm gonna check if Norchad Omier is planning on returning because I don't fully know like if they will. Um, yeah, everyone's just saying that he's possibly not going to be able to return to the first round. So if Norchad Omir's not there, then I'd say Drake definitely has a better chance of winning, just because Norchad Omir would be a scary center for them to match up against. While their guard play can kind of battle it out. I mean, Miami has Isaiah Wong, they got Jordan Miller, Nigel Pack, but again, Drake with Tucker DeVries, and then the supporting cast of that. Definitely a dangerous 12 over 5 if you have not picked, if you don't fully believe in like Charleston over San Diego State or Roberts over Duke, then I would probably pick Drake over Miami. Same thing here. I mean, I feel like there's probably going to be one 13 over 4 upset this year. But again, I think everyone said that exact same thing last year with South Dakota State over Providence or one of the other 13 over 4s. And I just checked, and no 13 seeds beat 4 seeds last year. So definitely something to take into consideration. Um, but I do still feel that this 13 seed Kent State, they are definitely a very solid team. Got a very good defense led by a senior guard and sincere carry. Indiana does definitely obviously have the better team. Trace Jackson Davis at the center is definitely always going to be a scary matchup. Alongside Jalen Hood at the guard position, and then their supporting role around them definitely makes them a threat to go far in the bracket, but they could also underwhelm and underperform. But I would probably have Indiana moving on to be safe. If you really like this Kent State team, or you look into it and you feel like this is a good 13 over 4, pick Kent State. I'm not trying to tell you anything different, but I personally would probably just go with Indiana. You got Iowa State versus Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh just played a good game against Mississippi State last night. They have a good role of, they have a good group of guys over there. They got Nelly Cummings, the transfer from Colgate. They got Jamarius Burton, Blake Hinson. They got some good scores over there. Iowa State, same thing for them. They got a solid center. I think it's Osa Osunye. They did just lose Caleb Grill for whatever personal reasons, but they also have Taman Lipsy, Jaron Holmes, and Gabe Kalshuer. Gabe Kalshuer was there last year with Tyrese Hunter when they went on a little bit of a Sweet 16 run. So I would definitely say Iowa State is a team to consider to at least maybe win one game, but they are also have been very inconsistent. But that mainly is probably just because they've been playing in the toughest conference in in basketball, the Big 12. And they have good wins in that conference. They beat Texas once, beat Kansas once, they beat Baylor all 3 times they played them, beat TCU all the times they played them. They did lose both times they played West Virginia, though, so it's definitely something to consider. Pitt has a couple good wins in the ACC, but the ACC definitely was worse than the Big 12 this year. Um, and I think there's another statistic where 10 of the 11 years that the first four has been a thing in March, there's always been one first four team to make it past the first round. It happened last year with Notre Dame over Alabama. It happened the year before with UCLA making their Final Four run. And this year it's either Pittsburgh beating Iowa State or it's the winner of Arizona State, Nevada over TCU. So if you like this Pittsburgh team more than you like ASU or Nevada, I would pick them to move on. But if you like those other two teams, I would probably just say Iowa State is a good shot to move on. Then you got Xavier, Kennesaw State. Some people like this 14/3 matchup. I would probably say it's the one you should stay away from, or it's one of the ones you should stay away from. The other one being Gonzaga and Grand Canyon. Just because Kennesaw State, I feel like they're a solid team, but they aren't that great, you know. And again, Xavier, who I feel is a very good 3 seed that some people are underrating. You know, they have Soleil Boom. They are losing their power forward and Zach Fremantle, but they have Jack Nunge, they have Colby Jones, Adam Kunkel. They have a good group of guys, and they did play Creighton in that first round of in their first game of the Big East Conference tournament, and they blew them out. Very good performance by that team. I would say Xavier is a good bet to move on. Then you got Texas A&M versus Penn State. This is my favorite matchup of the entire first round. I hate that they're going against each other, but it's definitely going to be a very, very good game. I like both teams. Both teams have been on a hot streak. Texas A&M has a very good backcourt with Tyrese Radford and Wade Taylor. They also have Henry Coleman and Julius Marble, who are solid. Penn State has Jalen Pickett, probably the best point guard in all of college basketball right now. So he's obviously a threat to, go far in this tournament. I do like A&M a little better just because they play in the SEC and they just went. I feel like they've been under the radar the entire season. I feel like they should have been a 6 or a 5 seed. I would have had them over Iowa State. I would have had them over TCU, had them over Kentucky probably because they had a better record than Kentucky in their conference as well as making it further than Kentucky. So I feel like Kentucky probably should have been 7. Do like both teams though, and then Penn State, again in the Big Ten Conference tournament, played very very well. Made it pretty far. Lost to Purdue in the championship game, and that's Purdue, like they're the 1 seed. So definitely a interesting matchup. Could really go either way. This is probably the hardest one to pick. I would maybe say Texas A&M over them, just because I like the way they've been playing more recently. But I do really like this Penn State team too, and it's just a shame that they had to go against each other in the first round. Because I feel like you swap out maybe Boise State for Penn State, and then this would be Texas A&M guaranteed win, and then you put Penn State against Northwestern in the first round, and then I'd have Penn State guaranteed win. And then I would say, okay, final 4 teams in this region. Houston obviously could potentially make it to the Elite Eight or Final Four. Same with Texas. Those are the 2 hands down just easiest teams to pick. If you want to go with a little bit of a sleeper team, I would maybe say Indiana. Xavier, I wouldn't put them past Texas. If it's a matchup like this, maybe move Xavier on. But Xavier going to the Final Four is definitely something that I would probably steer away from. As much as I like their team, I feel like either Texas A&M or Texas could beat them, and then if they win that, then Houston or Indiana is probably going to beat them. Texas A&M or Penn State are also very good sleeper teams to pick to make runs. If you really want to make a run, I'd pick one of these teams. Miami could make a little bit of an Elite Eight run. They could do the same thing Indiana does if it's something like this. I would have Houston a guaranteed Sweet 16 lock. I don't see them losing to either of these teams, and they're obviously not going to lose to Northern Kentucky. Texas, I would say they make it past the first round, but then this is definitely a questionable spot for them. Either of these teams could play really good while they just have a very underwhelming game, and then boom, they're out. So I would definitely say doing something like this isn't too impossible. something like this, maybe even with a Drake run. You know, Tucker DeVries could carry them pretty far. I don't know about having them go to the Elite Eight, but you never fully know. I would probably stick with Houston over them in this game, though, as well as something like maybe this. This is not a bad pick. So literally, I feel like this Midwest Conference is definitely one of the harder ones to pick who you're gonna have move on. But I would say your three like safest options to go to the Elite Eight or the Final Four are Texas, Houston, and I would probably say either Indiana or the winner of this game. If you want to have a Cinderella run, pick it. Pick one of these teams to have that run. But yeah, that is all for the Midwest region. If you guys want to check out the other two ones I did before this, they're already posted. Just go head over there. Otherwise, like and subscribe if you feel like it, and I will see you guys later.